What has become of Detroit? The police are even telling the people, enter Detroit at your own risk. It's like a movie. This is one of the most tragic and heartbreaking stories that we have ever done. It didn't start out this way. It started out with something uniquely American. Innovation, great ideas. The automobile industry revolutionized the way the whole world did manufacturing. The year's 1903, and Henry Ford has just founded the Ford Motor Company, and the city of Detroit was about to explode. It became the economic envy of the world. It was the cultural envy as well. It later became the home of the assembly line. Then it was also the home of Berry Gordy's Motown, the Jackson 5. It represented everything people wanted to believe about the American dream. It attracted billions who flocked from all over the world to see it. Unfortunately, it didn't end that way. Today, after 100 years, Detroit is a dilapidated pigsty, to tell you the truth. It's rotting, rat-infested, riddled with crime, drugs, poverty, and corruption that has been eating away at it for a long time. The city is literally on fire. 12,000 fires happen there every single year. 1,000 of them are just arson. 60% of the homes they burn, 60% are totally empty. But the angry mobs that roam the streets still ransack them, just set them on fire because they want to. There are no rules. But let's not forget, also, this is a city that is bankrupt. It went bankrupt this summer. July of this last year, it filed the largest bankruptcy case in U.S. history. So how does this happen to a city? I mean, a great manufacturing empire crumbled. The answer is really simple. It's just progressivism. Corrupt unions, reckless government. You might think, well, it's just Detroit, but it's not. The rest of America is going down the same exact path. Detroit is just the first one to get there. It was Detroit that offered the first health care benefits and handouts to laborers. The city of Detroit. This is during World War II. So in other words, the catastrophe that this president has just inflicted on the entire country actually started in Detroit. And here's what happened. People heard about these handouts, and they were even more eager to move to the Motor City. But the problem was, there wasn't real opportunity. It was all done through wage and price controls. So the government, not the market, was creating phony jobs, phony wealth. Meanwhile, the unions were causing workers' wages to go through the roof. And because of that, jobs moved out. They were ballooning so high that eventually the car manufacturers said, if you're going to make us pay you guys this much, I mean, we're just going to go build someplace else. And they did. The city has been run by progressives for over 30 years. It used to be the fourth largest city. Now 63% of the population has just disappeared. Only half of the city can even read. 53% of the city is considered functionally illiterate, meaning half can't read, and the other half can only read basic phrases like, my Obama phone, and yes we can. Over 50% of the city is impoverished. It's the most impoverished city in the U.S., and trust me, it will get worse. They owe over $100,000 to creditors, each. It's facing $20 billion in debt and unfunded liabilities, equaling over $25,000 every person that lives there. And only 40% of the city's streetlights even work. By the way, if you live in one of the homes that isn't empty, the looters show up and try to burn your house down. You have to have a fire hose ready because the actual fire department will take at least an hour to get there. In every other city, it's 11 minutes. The police department is just as effective. In fact, they're so good that every year they solve 9% of the endless crime. 9. You see, It only works if everybody is a communist country. If everybody, otherwise the jobs move. Now, when that happened, that meant that all the taxpayers left. They left Detroit, but the progressives still wanted to keep their extravagant welfare state. They had chased away all the job creators, all of the taxpayers, and there was no one to support it. The streets quickly grew riddled with crime. Violent gangs ruled the city. Prostitution was rampant. Drugs were everywhere. It was a moral vacuum. The same type of cultural rot that unfortunately our country is suffering from today.